Hi, welcome to If I Did It, a show where we analyze and solve PR kerfuffles from the MMA world and beyond.
Ah, you got the handle
That's
to it.
right. I had to put in the notes.
Yeah.
When you get a good thing, you got
Gotta
to make
stick with
sure.
it. Gotta
You
stick
got to
with
stick.
it.
I'm your host, Alexi Old, and joining me as always is Kid Native Bloody Elbow and Eugene S. Robinson of Ozzy.com and author of Fight Everything Everyone Know About Ass Kicking, and we're afraid to get your ass kicked for asking.
Mm-hmm. You got it, baby.
Now, Eugene,
Sir!
you're the UFC.
I am the UFC.
Conor claims that the Civil War is so last week, but Dana's dinner date with Nate suggests some ruffled feathers. Is this the apocalypse or just PR grandstanding?
PR grandstanding, baby. I'm not going for any screaming, hollering until I get a peek behind the curtain. I'm just not buying it. You know, I could be like one of those guys, perpetual skeptic. He goes to see the Superman movie and is sitting there. Oh, sure, a guy can fly with a cape. I don't want to be that guy, but I'm going to be that guy in this instance. I'm not. Hey, how many times as a grown adult male have you stalked out of a restaurant? I'm talking about a grown adult male who's dealt with women, who's had business deals, who's had fractious relationships with bosses. I have never ever stormed out of a restaurant. It's monkey shines. I'm not buying it. I mean, because realistically speaking, what could Nate have done to elicit that kind of response? It's very simple. He either asked for more money or he said he demurred from a fight that he was going to fight that wasn't going to put him in a position to make more money, neither of which would have upset the bald one in the slightest. Maybe he was in a hurry. Maybe he got a call from Joe Silva about somebody being hurt. Who knows? But I don't think
maybe he whipped out a reefer right there in the restaurant.
Maybe he huffed a muggle right there at the Red Lobster.
It didn't offer.
And didn't offer him a toke. Do people still use that word toke, or am I dating myself?
You might be dating
yourself.
It's like you guys wouldn't know.
Bring it back, baby. Bring it back, just in case.
Alexi might know. So I'm not going for the monkey shines here. It's like. They know they got us. You remember when I was at Mac Life magazine and I was all excited to be at Mac Life, and I used to work with Steve Jobs and he liked me at the time, and I sent one of my coworkers over. Oh, there's Steve. Go introduce yourself. He's gonna be. And the guy goes over and says, "Hey, Steve, I'm with Mac Life." And Steve just looks at him and goes, "Oh, you mean the fanzine?" Yeah. There's no respect for people who don't know that behind the curtain is where all the serious stuff is happening. Not buying it. As PR moves go, it's a good one because I'm more interested than I was, 4 days ago.
What do you think, Nate?
Well, I can't make sense of what game they're playing. I mean, on the one hand, you got Conor saying everything's peachy with the UFC, and boom, suddenly he's got a sit-down interview with ESPN, which leads you to believe that everything is peachy, that they grease the skids for him to get some PR. Because if you notice, while Conor was at war with the UFC, he had Twitter, and that was about it. He wasn't getting a lot of interview offers. Like, he wasn't getting a chance to put his story out. I don't know how pervasive their media control is, but it seemed like the game was pretty tight. Suddenly he's back. But then we got Colin Cowherd coming out of the blue and saying that Mayweather-McGregor is actually a serious proposition. And so, I don't know. Eugene might be right that it's all kayfabe. I tend not to believe that they're capable of that kind of elaborate kayfabe. I think that Nick Diaz probably is a pain in the ass, and Dana White is a petulant asshole. And they sat down, and things were said, and tempers flared, and somebody blew up and walked out of a restaurant. I had some muscle so bad the other week, I walked out of a restaurant. I mean, it can happen. It can happen.
No. You didn't walk out like that. And the reality of it is, if he is not a very good executive, if he went into that meeting non-Japanese style, they said, I remember when they gave us training on how to do business in Japan, they go, if the big boss falls asleep during your meeting, it's okay. Because it means nothing surprising is happening, which means his team briefed him on exactly what would happen, so there's no need to stay away. If that guy is really paying attention, you're in trouble because you're deviating from the fucking script. I can't believe the Baldwin went into that meeting not knowing about the contingencies. You got to be kidding me. It's like he's going to ask for more money, he's going to ask for another fight. Why would they want to give him another fight other than the McGregor fight? Now, he could be gaming somebody. He could be gaming Nate. He could be gaming the media. he could be gaming the people in the restaurant who expect him to leave that nice black American Express card for the meal, and then he leaves it with the guy from Stockton. He's like, hey man, what's the tip? Was it 4%? I think it's 4%. Yeah, no, I don't know who's gaming, but somebody beyond a shadow of a doubt is being gamed here. And the question is, if you don't know who it is, yeah, like I say on Knuckle Up, it could be you.
Damn.
Who's the mark here? Who's getting taken? Who's getting who? Oh, wait a minute.
I'm getting taken. Take my money. Take my clicks. Take my attention. Like,
Yep. Well, you see, you say that now. You say that until you lay down that $65 for a paper, and then it's no more fun and games.
Well, speaking of fun and games and laying down money for the pay-per-view, Nate, you're CBS. Do you remember the 17th night of September? According to Fox Sports host Colin Cowherd, money is changing the minds of pretenders while chasing the Mayweather-McGregor match doubters away. Is this only blue talk, or is this match here to stay?
I don't know. I mean, if I'm CBS, I'll line up all the chips you can because that would be a nice, sweet moneymaker. Floyd's not doing anything else for anybody. He's essentially retired from boxing. He's got one more fight to tie Rocky Marciano's record for most fights, or one to beat.
No, one to beat it. And you're an idiot if you think that he was just going to be respectful and sit that one out. No fucking way.
No, he wants that. He wants that record. He wants it bad. Conor McGregor is an almost guaranteed win in a boxing ring for Floyd Mayweather, and a high-profile fight. It's by far the most high-profile, easiest win combination. It's irresistible to Mayweather. It's hard to see how he would resist that.
He didn't fight the way he fought for the last 15 years to do anything else. Come on.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he fights cautious. He plays cautious. This is a very safe bet for him in every possible way. For McGregor, it's like going to dramatically ramp up the amount of attention he gets on his personality, on his brand. Yeah, he puts himself in a bad spot because he's unlikely to win the fight, but he's not a boxer. Who cares if he loses to the best boxer of all time? No shame in that. Like, Mayweather's very unlikely to knock him out. So, you know, I mean, go out there, have some fun, put on the gloves, make some money. It makes sense to me, and I think that the Ali Act gives them a window to break free of the UFC because the Ali Act is almost explicitly designed to prevent a promoter from blocking a fighter from taking a big money fight with somebody else. I mean, that's what the act is for. And this is boxing. If it's in boxing, the Ali Act applies. So,
and it's a win-win all around. If you don't know if you're paying attention to the dollar figures that are being cast about, I heard 50, 60 mil. Now, I could have been high when I read it, but I did read 50, 60 mil, which means that, you don't think that makes a bald one happy? I'm sure he's got points on McGregor. I'm sure he's got points. He can't stop it, but why would you stop? I got a free 2-3 million. Why would you stop it? You could, and not only that, you got a cool 2-3 million because you got points on McGregor. And McGregor comes back, and he really doesn't give a fuck about money at that point. He's not busting your balls over 6 or 7 mil. He doesn't. The guy's got 50 mil. He's now when you get that kind of money, now you're in the Panama Papers type of neighborhood. You're trying to hide it. You're trying to put it in the mattress. You're putting it in the wheel wells of the car, the running board, like in the French Connection. Everything. Your concerns. All right, hey Connor, hey buddy, I think we'll give you 2 mil for this fight. Yeah, whatever. It's like that time I borrowed 50 cents from a woman, I'm not going to mention her name, but whose family used to own Hyatt hotels and Continental Airways, and I'm breaking my neck trying to get her back her 15 cents. And then I finally get it to knock on the door. I go, here you go, Gigi, here's the money. And she looks at me like, thanks, Eugene. I was like, you gotta be fucking kidding me. You're the one who busted my balls about the 15 cents. I don't care. I'm doing the right thing. So at this point, it takes the heat off of everybody. It's just like WWE, but more money. Ronda did WWE, showed up, people went crazy. It was an ass in the seat driver for the UFC. Nobody lost.
So if you're CBS, Eugene, what do you do in wake of all this talk? Do you just step back and let everybody else do the talking while you try to get this thing done? Or if you're not really getting this thing done, you're doing the research and seeing whether or not it makes sense. But from a PR perspective, do you make any kind of statement? When do you make any kind of statement other than the fight announcement?
At this point, you do. If you're a CBS, you do one thing and one thing only. and you make one phone call, and I'm not saying who that phone call is to. If it was me, I'm not making it to Mayweather. I'm not making it to McGregor. I'm making it to the bald one. And I'm saying one thing. It's a short conversation. I go, you got this, right? like in other words, all of us standing here behind the curtain, we are not the marks, right? And then the bald one goes, no, it's under control. And then you hang up the phone and you wait for the fight announcement. You wait to get a call that says make the announcement. And I mean, what, you don't think this is going to help boxing? Why do you think Mayweather? You know what Mayweather is not paying attention to? He's not paying attention to lacrosse. Okay. He's not, that game with the stick and the ball, man, I'm all over that. He's not even paying attention to highlight. I don't even know if they still play highlight. He's not paying attention to highlight. He's paying, okay, he said, well, Eugene, because those are combat sports. Okay, well, he's not paying attention to amateur wrestling. He's not paying attention. What do you think his nickname is? There's a reason. What, you think boxing doesn't have the same kind of yips that MMA has? When people who are involved in boxing look down the long field of boxing through the next 2 or 3 years, what do they see?
Right.
A dusty plain, fucking nothing.
Well, one thing also makes a lot of sense for this fight to happen as the dollars are laid out, and when you're dealing with CBS as well as Fox and maximizing money opportunities for not having to do as much, as like coming up with a brand new show or coming with this or so-and-so, the money is there to be made. For Mayweather's perspective, assuming that this fight can count as a professional boxing fight, it's sanctioned. I'm sure they'll find some way to get it done, that it counts on his record. It also sets up a situation where for the next fight, not necessarily against McGregor, but if they're like, it doesn't count because, he beat an MMA guy, he didn't beat a true boxer, then he can say, okay, if he wants to, he can reserve the opportunity to say, okay, you know what, I'm going to fight so-and-so or X or Y and Z. It gives, I think it gives a little cushion, not to say that he needs to have a cushion, but I just think it's such a win-win-win-win-win for him in that he's able to have a fight that everyone knows he's probably going to win. And if get some controversy behind it, his name back in the spotlight, international fight, okay, with Conor McGregor. And then when the blowback happens, as it already has happened with on ESPN, he shouldn't dignify, it's a disgrace to boxing for this to happen. Well, that's good promotion for the next fight against a boxer. So, I just think it's such a win-win, for him. What about you, Nate? What kind of call, if you're CBS, what kind of moves are you making with regard to
I think they sit tight. They're the money man, they're the house. Just wait for it to come to you. Let these guys put it together. If you see an opportunity to bring some parties together and sit them down at a table just to emphasize how much money can be made, do that. But they don't need to be making any public statements. And I don't even think they need to call Dana White. Just let this boat drift down the river and see if anything comes of it. This is free money.
I used to have this girlfriend who had this incredible amount of equanimity. She would say, unlike the other girls, was paranoid about what you're doing with this and that. And she said to me, I trust that you'll tell me whatever I need to know whenever I need to know it. I was like, I love that fucking attitude. That's CBS, baby. It's like, you'll let me know whatever I need to know when I need to know it. I'm quite sure of that.
Yeah. Well, speaking about needing to know, Eugene, your MMA legend BJ Penn. After criminal allegations delayed your UFC 197 return to the octagon, you were removed from UFC 199 for a, quote, potential anti-doping policy violation, end quote, with the U.S. anti-doping agency, USADA. You released a statement, BJ, quote, I voluntarily disclosed to USADA that during a non-fight period that I had an IV administered under the care of a doctor, end quote. When you are cleared to return, do you risk your third PR kerfuffle or remain retired?
Man, here, let's play a game of charades. Ready? I'm going to do something. You let me know what I'm doing. Ready? Here we go.
Shaking a maraca.
Shaking a maraca. I mean, I'm gonna say somebody watched his last few fights and was like, what the fuck are we thinking? Hey, let's sit back and let Bellator take this one. Are you kidding me? BJ Penn, man, he's almost a known associate. Used to train with Cameron Earl and Half, these guys that I trained when I first started getting my kids training. And you know, so he's got Bay Area bona fides. But this shit is just a guy with money who figured out, Jesus Christ, I'm a guy with money and retired at the age of 38 or however old he is now. It's like, what am I going to do? I need to get out of it. Like I said about Mayweather. Why is Mayweather doing it? Got to get out of the house, man, you know. You know, after the fourth time that the wife asked you, could you take out the garbage again? He's like, geez, okay, you know what? I gotta get up out of here. I gotta start a hip hop label. He started the BJPenn.com, and then there was that alleged sexual thing with the guy. You know, there's just a lot of negatives and not a lot of positives. I don't know why he would do it except because he doesn't want to sit at home. And this whole thing, I'm not buying any of it. I'm hating to be like, you know, Johnny Skeptic, but I'm not buying it, man. You know, based on what I know about the guy's personal habits, I'm just, you know, I'm not. It's like busting Hitler. Ding, 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 ding. Busting Hitler for jaywalking. Oh, you got me. I jaywalked. I should have crossed at the corner. Just don't ask about the Eastern resettlement. Yeah, no, please. So I'm not buying. Again, monkey shines. I'm not buying it. The guy shouldn't be fighting. I don't need to see him fight. Anybody who needs to see him fight is either Hawaiian or a sadist, and it's just too many fucking negatives. And I think maybe that's a take. Maybe that this was just an easy door for him to walk out through. You know, maybe they found out something else and it was an easy door. I mean, I hate to be like sounding like a conspiracy lunatic, but they make you do this because they're denying things I didn't even think should be denied. They're saying things I don't think even should be said. They're making up things that I don't even know hold any water. So I'm unsure. I'm doubting everything.
That's a nice little mention, water. So there you go, Nate. What do you think?
Well, I think it's very funny that BJ's in trouble for an IV in the off season that he reported himself. There's no way to test for IV for having used IVs. It's
well,
not
at
even
the restaurant like Dana, maybe.
I mean, I can understand the IV ban in terms of weight cutting around the time of the fight, but I do not understand at all what their objection to an off season IV is. Like, there's just a blanket ban on IVs to rehydrate. It makes no sense to me. There's no scientific evidence that this somehow gives you a performance enhancement down the road when you do fight. The whole thing is very strange. I'm not going to go as far as Eugene that this is some sort of conspiracy to take him out of the fight. I think it's a genuine fuck up and mix up. And if BJ was more familiar with how to play the game, you know, he's somebody who's notoriously been anti-steroids, vocally been anti-steroids. I'm not saying that makes him innocent of any shenanigans, but I just don't think the guy. I think the guy ran his mouth, thought he had a level playing field and a certain level of professional trust and courtesy with the people he was dealing with, and ran into a brick wall of rule following didacts that just cut no one no slack, and it's just ridiculous. The whole thing is ridiculous. Like Eugene said, I don't think BJ should be fighting. His last fights were terrible. There's no indication he's in good shape or has anything to offer as a fighter other than a marquee name, and it's just an ugly clusterfuck. I really got nothing to add. I don't know why they're banning him for this move. I don't know why he told him about this move. The whole thing makes no sense.
And I also heard, I mean, if we could talk about rumors, allegations, whispers, I also heard, you know, leafy green things. I don't know. You know,
See, that's the thing. You talk about, like, you don't want to sit at home and watch TV, but going back to combining what you guys are saying, in terms of what's going through his mind and having to, you know, update himself for, like, okay, this is what I have to do. Here are the rules. It's not fun. I mean, the whole point is I want to have fun on board. It's like, fuck, is this what it takes now to, like,
it's a job.
Fight? Like, come on. I mean, think about it. At least when you deal with musicians or entertainers, non-fistic entertainers, it's like, oh, I'll go to the studio and cut a record. I'll do a movie shoot. I'll do so and so. You know, there's certain things you can do to kind of be active.
Your Art Garfunkel, you can make that call.
Yeah.
Hey Paul. Hey Paul.
Yeah, I mean,
Garfunkel has plenty of solo albums. He doesn't need Paul Simon.
Yeah. When's the last time you bought an Art Garfunkel record?
About 2011.
Really?
Watermark, his classic Jimmy Webb song suite. It's just as painful to listen to as you might imagine.
And suddenly we stumbled into like a complete alley of lunacy. I don't know who would buy an Art Garfunkel record. I just took a shot in the dark. It's like, I didn't expect that would happen.
Let me bring you back then. Nate, you're at NBC. A Katrina survivor told the New York Post that her experience on your show, Biggest Loser, was worse than the hurricane. Other former contestants complained about forced starvation, lying about weight, and street drugs. Quote, people chastise Bill Cosby for allegedly offering meds to women, but it's acceptable to do to fat people to make them lose weight? I feel like we got raped too. End quote.
Oh my God. Who said that?
One of the contestants.
A survivor of the show.
With renewal of the show pending, is the weight of this bad PR enough for you to remove it from the table?
It all depends where the ratings are coming in at, where you think the ratings are coming in next season. Like, if it's a #1 show, by all means, you can ride out this who and this ha. But if it's number 20, number 45, fuck it, cut your losses and cut this shit. Yeah. They've had a good run with this show. I don't know what the ratings were for the last season, but for a while it was a big hit.
Big fat hit.
Exactly.
Giant
but they've had a serious amount of bad publicity. The New York Times had a piece a couple weeks ago with scientists saying that the people that are on The Biggest Loser, like 2 years later, 3 years later, have gained all the weight back, that their metabolisms were wrecked, that nothing they can do keeps the weight off, that it's just, every indication is this from a scientific perspective and from the perspective of the contestants, this is a bad deal. But for NBC, if it's making them money, keep on trucking.
And and the reality of it is, I don't know if you know about pay structures in TV, AFTRA and Screen Actor Guild stuff, but if your show has to go, if you actually want to eat and live for a little bit, the show has to go for 5 years at least. This is why when David Milch walks away from Deadwood into halfway.
The reality shows even have the rerun potential at all anyway, no matter how.
That's a big question. Would you watch that show and rerun it?
I've never seen Survivor in syndication.
Yeah, I don't think so. I don't know. But 5 years.
I think they do.
Would be the limit. But
they do still.
Yeah, I mean, if Nick at Night is showing,
But also broad. You have to remember, you don't have, not every country on the planet has a massive cable package, and they still have state-run TV in some places and other situations where there is a certain limitation of channels. So there's always some kind of channel out there that you can find. Especially the bigger the hit, the easier it is to do this.
A friend of mine is a Sicilian, and he was saying, look, Berlusconi destroyed Italy. When I was a kid, there was a football game on, and he means soccer, and there was a guy in a dancing bee costume. We had 2 channels. That was it. He goes, Berlusconi comes in. We get 500 channels. People lose their fucking minds. They're crazy. They're crazy. So when I was on tour in Italy, I'm sitting there in a restaurant, and, of course, every single public place that you go to now, they're TV screens, so they're trying to force you to watch this stuff. And I look up, and what do I see on the TV? A guy in a dancing bee costume. So that guy is still around, but apparently the 498 other channels will ruin your mind. Yeah, I mean, look, the argument is, if you are morbidly obese, you got a tough road to hoe anyway. Right. So, the fact that the bad press, at this point now, I believe that this kind of thing possibly could have been gerrymandered by the show's producers, keeping up with my skepticism theme, because now we're talking about it. And in the waning days of a show, who talks about it? Nobody.
Well, another thing, too, is I think that's a very good point, Eugene, because one possibility that they could follow is there's criticism about what's going on behind the scenes. So what do? You add content now.
Yeah, right.
You can have a situation where you analyze certain things, and just like how they do with Big Brother, like, okay, for those of you who want to watch, outside of the show hours, we have a constant video feed. We have so-and-so. We're doing a follow-up documentary series at the same time where we're talking to the doctors and showing the things that are going on. I mean, there's a potential for them to make The Biggest Loser even bigger in theory and say, hey, you know what? Let's see how far we can go with this before it totally blows up and we can do nothing with it. I mean, that opportunity exists. Whether or not they went forward and planted, they planted the seeds, I mean, I think they really have a strong possibility to at least consider.
Well, and also, too, you got to keep it, this is Godfather type territory, man. It also gives you, positions you to to get rid of pains in the ass. You know, if you don't think somebody's going down, hey, you guys want a clean house. Next thing you know, there's a fist fight. You're sitting on your bar stool. You're getting rousted out. We're rousting everybody out. Oh, shit. And then you're on the sidewalk and you're looking around. What exactly do you mean by everybody? Yeah, I'm the only one standing out here. You know, maybe it's a producer that's getting a little lippy, wants a little bit more money. Right. Stuff happens all the time. I don't know if it's designed for later in the show, but this Elijah Wood thing is a case in point.
No, that's the curveball. That's the curveball. Curveball. One last thing about The Biggest Loser. I looked at the ratings. They're down 20% in the key demos over the last season. It's the 17th season. They've got plenty of book for reruns. I say they kill it. But back to Elijah Wood.
Okay, somebody's just giving me my curveball, but go ahead.
Elijah Wood talked to the London Times, exclusive interview, said pedophilia is Hollywood's biggest problem, that anything you can imagine has been happening to child actors in Hollywood. I don't know how to frame that as a question. You're a Hollywood pedophile.
You're a Hollywood producer. Oh, you can do one or two things. One is, so if it's a PR thing, you're a Hollywood producer.
Let's say you're Bryan Singer, director of movies, previously named in pedophile scandals, although never prosecuted or convicted.
With Brad Renfro as one of his notches on his "I killed myself" belt, you know.
Allegedly.
Thank you.
Yes,
keeping me from lawsuit. Yeah.
Yeah.
So what was your question then? You got to.
I don't know. How do we frame this into a question? You're Hollywood alleged pedophile Bryan Singer. Do you respond to Elijah Wood, or do you just let it lie?
You laugh and go back to saying, "Look, it's good for your career, son. We're looking for a young man who knows how to use his head. If you know what I mean."
Twink fist.
Yeah. Hey, listen, man. Hey, I was modeling my way through high school in Lower Manhattan. What do you think? What do you think? Okay, I wasn't 6. Okay, I was 16, but guys are gaming on you, And one of these guys, I tracked this guy down, right? Because I'm like full on Clint Eastwood Western style. I'm like, but of course, I think I was 32 when I tracked him down. It's like, dude wasn't so much interested in a 32-year-old man who weighed 265 pounds and was contacting him for reasons that were unclear to him, You're a Hollywood pedophile, man. You're like, look, you think these guys are thinking about themselves as pedophiles? They take you out to the house. They show you the pool. They give you the finest champagne and the best drugs money could buy. Nobody held a gun to your head to force you to do it. And if your parents are fucking complicit, and if you're 7 years old, you got to know the parents are good. Hey, all you got to say is John Benet Ramsey to look at how crazy parents are sometimes. Yeah, I've been on my kids all in light of college fund. I had them all doing up until I wasn't going to pull them out of math class to do TV commercials, but between the ages of 4 or 3 and 4, well, as soon as they were born, you could take infants to these things. They were doing TV commercials for Tide, commercials for Macy's, and the shit that happens. I've seen parents almost beat their kids up on auditions. And this father's yanking his daughter. She didn't do something. He's yanking her down the stairs. And I'm looking at the production people. I go, you got to call the cops. You have his name and number. You got to call the cops on that guy. And so they made a call. Or the parents my oldest kid is doing some audition, and I'm always on the set because I've been through it. I'm not leaving. Right. They have a handler on the set, like a tutor, they say. And so you're okay? I said, nah, I'm not okay. I'm going to stay here. Right. And I'm going to help my kid through the scene.
You didn't trust Johnny Short Eyes?
No, it was a woman, right? So she's,
Madden Short Eyes?
Yeah, my kid is doing a great job, and she's going, she's just trying to keep up the happy chatter. Are you in school yet? And my kid was in kindergarten, maybe first grade. She says, yeah, first grade. She's, do you have a boyfriend? And I'm Lord. Fucking at this point I'm like this, and then my kid looks at me like, what the fuck, Dad?
Right.
And I'm looking at her like, it's all right, kid, I'm paying attention. And then the tutor sees us look at each other, and then she looks at my kid and goes, is Daddy your boyfriend? And I go, that's it, you're out of line, it's inappropriate, and you're creeping me out. And everybody goes like, good. and the guy who's directing it goes like, to the tutor, could you please leave?
Right.
And just kicks her out of the fucking room, and it's like, whatever, man. You don't think I've been thrown off the set before for substandard treatment? I got thrown off a midnight caller because I told the guy, you can go fuck yourself. Believe me, I'm a rare parent, but to get, the lights, the cameras. So everybody's enabling this process.
Well, the thing is, there was this reality show that Danny Bonaducci hosted, and they were taking kids to different spots where, River Phoenix died. They're going all over these places. They talked to Aaron Moran from Joni Loves Chachi. They're talking about all these horrible tales of child actors. And what they do is they save River Phoenix for the end. They're driving around the Partridge Family bus, and the last stop is where River Phoenix died. And he asked the parents, in wake of everything that we've told you, all of the people that you've spoken to, and the road that waits your child if your child continues down this path, by a show of hands, how many of you want to drop out of Hollywood? None of them raised their hands.
I mean, because you got parents who are working jobs at Target, and that kid gets a royalty check. They're going nuts. I got my first royalty check for Leonard Part 6. I was going to call my agent and say, is this a mistake? Then I realized if I call my agent, he's going to want some money for this. So I just keep taking the checks and squirreling them away. It's incredible, crazy money, And if you think the pedophiles they hear him say that, and they're going back to doing what they're doing because they know there's a whole chain of people who are enabling them.
Exactly. Look at Roman Polanski, Woody. I mean, look at Woody Allen. Like, it's just. You think that you think he would be the safe one to make fun of, right? He's we can make fun of Woody. No, all the actresses primarily is like, I don't have a problem. No problem at all. People need to leave people alone. Leave us alone.
Well, it's like that Dave Chappelle thing. You have no problem with Woody? No? All right, would you let him babysit your kid? Fuck no. Okay. All right, then. All right, just check.
What are you talking about Michael Jackson with that?
My kid, actually, my middle kid texted me yesterday, and I'll just read you what she said. That she said that she just saw something that said that the kid recanted. The kid who accused Michael Jackson, and he recanted, and said his father forced him to lie. And I told her, I said, hey, kid, there was more than one kid.
Right.
Now, so there was more than one parent taking a lot of Michael's money. I remember after Michael basically fled the country and was in Dubai or something with somebody's 7-year-old, and the parents were on vacation with him too in a different suite. It's just, and these were dentists, if I recall correctly. Like, these were pretty upper middle class people.
No, but it's funny you said dentists, because I was always taught from my mentors in terms of film, raising funds for films back when I did screenplays and before I realized that whatever, that you target dentists. You go after people that have a lot of money, disposable income, but no glamour to their jobs or lives. And dentists, he said, time and time again, dentist. And this professor, I was so funny. Like, he's in the room and he's like, you target people with money. Like, you, miss, could you write a check for $1 million right now? You could, couldn't you? You could. And she was like, yes. He was like, I can smell it.
Yeah. Well, you should see it. I've always been moaning the absence or the inability to make a really good horror movie anymore because nobody's scared of anything. But I just watched one the other day that was actually pretty effective. It was called The Invitation. And you should. I won't, because don't read any reviews. Just watch it. It came out, I think, December 2015, so it was pretty new, but it didn't get a wide release. But it's a great adult horror movie. Really good.
Well, speaking of horrors, Eugene, you're BET.
Yeah.
Madonna did a tribute to Prince at the Billboard Awards that disgusted his fans. That's horror right there, baby. Seizing the opportunity, you tweeted a promo for your own award show. Quote, yeah, we saw that. Don't worry. We got you. End quote. What steps can you take to prevent bungling your tribute to his late purple badness?
Well, I like Questlove. He came out and he just goes, he defended Madonna. But, there's a more serious problem afoot with Madonna. And the problem with Madonna is she's got what I call the Bono Antiquities problem. and they're just not going to go away. They're not going to go away. I have news for you. The entire remainder of your adult life will be lived under the shadow of these egomaniacs who will not fucking go away. Their attempts to re-inject themselves into your life, into your cultural landscape, will be never-ending and relentless. You know more
That's
about
Homer right there. Do a movie on that.
you know more about these people than you know about close relatives of yours. They will not stop. Nothing will stop them. They already have hundreds of millions of dollars in the bank. They're not motivated by money. They will not stop. She will be picking over the bones of all of her dear friends. Sandra Bernhard dies. She's doing a Sandra Bernhard, memorial concert. She will not stop. It's like a vampire. You have to put a stake in the heart. You got to cut the head off, fill the mouth with garlic, throw the mouth into a body of water, bury the body on hollowed ground. It's terribly frightening. You find yourself completely thankful for people like, say, Robert Plant, who was like, you know what, I'm all right, just doing my little projects, Dallas and Krause appearing every few years. You're completely okay with people who are okay with not having us look at them every single second. You got to tell, there are no books that Madonna wants to read. There are no languages she wants to learn how to speak. There are no, vision quests that she wants to do. Why is this blot, this stain on our lives for the rest of our life? If I had known this was the case, I would have stopped it a long time ago. I'd tell Jelly Bean, don't put that record out, man. I mean, you think he was hanging out in the punk rock scene back in the 80s? You could have actually no, go another way. Don't do this. I mean, do you think she was really sad that her ex? I've had a few exes now die, and it's like, I'm not doing memorial concerts for them, but it's like, do I have to put my cravenness on display? It's really disturbing. If you're not disturbed by it, you should be disturbed by it.
So just don't put Madonna on there and they're good, right?
At least athletes have a fucking thing. They had one of the things, they try to get you to read something at the end of an article, and they go, celebrity Olympic athletes who are now hit the skids or something. And there was a photograph of one, and I go, how many people remember that woman photographed is named Dorothy Hamill and what she did? I really like Dorothy Hamill, and I remember Dorothy Hamill. I didn't read the article because I don't want to read anything sad about Dorothy Hamill, but she had the decency to go the fuck away. Debbie Thomas is living in, I've named 2 figure skaters. It says a lot about me, maybe. She is now living in a trailer park having problems with bipolarity. I mean, look.
Former medical doctor is crazy.
Yeah. At least they have the decency to go away. I'm really disturbed. I mean, when I saw that she was doing it, it wasn't. I didn't care what she could have set herself on fire and turned into Jesus Christ on stage. It wouldn't have made a difference. Why do I have to live with Madonna? Why? Even actresses and actors, they just go the fuck. Like John Voight is a non-factor in my life these days. I don't think about John Voight. I don't talk about John Voight. Robert Redford. I don't talk about Robert Redford. He just
and
goes
then you were
away.
forced at gunpoint to watch the Billboard Music Awards? Is this what happened?
No, it was the Grammys that I was forced to.
I see. But the Billboard Music Awards is what we're talking about here. I personally skipped it without a blip.
Yeah, I didn't watch it, but how come we're talking about it? How come I knew what happened? I didn't even read a single article.
Well, you knew it was coming. I was
in my eyes!
I was watching people on Facebook bemoaning the choice of Madonna. And then I watched the conversation. I watched them talk themselves into it being okay because, well, she was a peer of Prince. Michael's dead. Prince is dead. Bruce Springsteen and Madonna are the only people that were that famous in the 80s, so Bruce probably isn't doing it. Bruce would have been a better choice because he can still put on a good performance. Madonna's performing abilities were always pretty limited. No matter what you think of her peak reign, and I think she did have a run where she was putting out some of the most relevant singles and videos and everything.
And then you go away. You drop the mic. You go away.
Even at her peak, she was not a gifted singer. She was a pretty good dancer, but not a great dancer. Made good videos, but her performances were best.
Preach.
Hey, did you ever read that book Gargantua and Pantagruel by Rabelais?
I read excerpts of it in freshman year of college.
Or do you remember that scene where the barbarians are coming and they're going to burn down the vineyards, and the monk is like, brothers, they're going to burn down the vineyards. He says, oh, it's God's will. There's no God's will, nothing. They're going to burn down the vineyards. He says, oh, brothers, let's just pray. It'll divert. He goes, you realize if these guys come and burn down the vineyards, we don't have wine for 7 years. They're like, oh, brother, we get there. And he goes, screw this. He runs to the top of the rectory, breaks off the cross, uses it as a sword, and goes out and kills like 7,000 barbarians with this sword because he wants. I mean,
a magical sword.
With a magical sword. This is, I'm having this incipient panic, and nobody's paying attention. Madonna's won't go away. She won't go away.
It's easy enough to ignore Madonna.
It is not. It is not. I didn't want to read. I didn't watch the show. I didn't want to read any articles, and she wormed the way it's.
So again, Eugene, what you would do if you're BET is just don't have Madonna on the show, and you're good to go. Is that it?
Yeah, of course. Being that's Madonna, then she pulls some Madonna jujitsu, and then she's now got press opportunities to talk about. Well, BET obviously doesn't want. It's funny that when the company was bought by a white guy, finally, that they start making decisions that the black community, like Trump, the blacks respect me. I mean, you can't beat Madonna. You can't stop her. It's like Godzilla. You can't stop her.
I mean, who are they going to book? Drake?
You know what? I would, I have a strong sense that in 5 years we're not going to be talking about Drake. We're not talking about Ricky Martin, right? They fuck off. They take their money. We're not talking about R. Kelly anymore. I mean, they just,
No, R. Kelly's not going away. R. Kelly's still up to shenanigans and still peeing on little girls, allegedly.
He's still buying his records still.
Yeah, R. Kelly hasn't gone away. I don't know, the Madonna thing, like, she knew Prince. She was a peer.
Hey,
everybody knew it was going to be terrible.
Let's stop this with the new. She and Prince was screwing, all right? So let's,
Hey, that's how they communicated. And they were both big stars together. I think there's a certain sympathy. You knew the music was going to suck. She was not capable of doing Prince numbers in her heyday, much less 30 years later. I mean, who's surprised by this?
Nobody. Somebody's got to help me. Why is no one helping me?
I think what BET should do, what maybe BET should do, going back to the question, in order to avoid this kind of kerfuffle, first thing is to prevent Eugene from totally losing it. Just don't have Madonna on there. Don't have Madonna footage.
They can't get Madonna in the first place.
Maybe what they could, that's true, maybe what they could do is, what I would like to see, if you think would be hilarious, you talk about who Prince's contemporaries, why not have all those artists that ripped off his style, like bring back Terrence Trent D'Arby and have him sing a song. Like, bring all these people that are like Prince pretenders.
Ready for the world.
Ready for the world, all of them. And it'd be hilarious. Bring them all back. It's like, damn, that's what happened.
See, no, that's all right, man.
They don't look too bad.
I know. See, that's hey, Nate. Somebody just texted me for you. It said, ask Nate if it's just a coincidence that Waco is an acronym for White Anglo Cookout. I don't know, man. I'm just telling you what people are saying here. So,
what am I, Ken Starr now? I mean,
hey, you must be getting the same text because that was the curveball. He says, Baylor fired Ken Starr amid a sexual assault investigation.
They fired him. Now that's news. I knew that that the Sharks were circling. I didn't realize they had fired him. Well,
what do you do if you're Ken Starr? There's my curveball.
Sing like a rock and shut the fuck up. He was even saying nice things about Bill Clinton the other day. I mean, it's like, somebody said, it's time for the Witchfinder General to be on the other end of the witch trial. That's how I feel about Ken Starr. This isn't Joe Paterno here. This guy was a dickbag always. He had no redeeming qualities. Baylor had a couple good years as a football program, but at the cost of covering up for alleged sexual assailants. So I don't know. The university doesn't appear to want to be involved with it. So goodbye, Ken Starr. Like,
listen,
crawl under a rock.
Listen, let me tell you something. There was that porn star prostitute who I knew, Samantha 38G. You can wait a minute. You don't have to look it up right now. Wait till the show's over, right?
I mean, what? Samantha with an M?
Samantha with an M. Her name is Samantha 38G, and I interviewed her, and she at the end of the interview expressed a sentiment that was fairly Republican, and I said, "Wow, but you're not Republican, are you?" And she goes, "Fuck yes, I am." And I go, "How could you be?" She goes, "Republicans are very, very good for business." And I was like, well, she goes, "Nah, repression is good for business." And I mean, in other words, I don't have to know I mean, most of the Republicans I know have extreme crisis in their personal backgrounds from when they were young. So they like this really rigid worldview that makes everything okay. And behind that is all very bunches of modern kink, you know. So yeah, so pretty much you could have followed Ken Starr. It was like I dated this woman and she wanted pictures of us together. and she wanted them, and I said I knew whether it was 6 days or 6 weeks or 6 months or 6 years, at some point her husband would find these. At some point the husband would find these. I didn't know when, but it was like a game show. And then I remember getting a call, and she was like, remember how I said that it would be kind of interesting if you came over to a barbecue at the house? And I'm just like, yeah. Well, Mike found them. And I was like, well, they could have been.
And instead, we want you to come over for dinner. Private dancer.
Exactly. If only. So it's the same kind of periodicity with these Republican guys. You just, if you follow them, like a friend of mine in high school decided he was going to follow his dad. Never do this. Never do this. He decided to play hooky specifically to follow his father. And he learned a bunch of disturbing shit. And he said, I found this thing in my father's pocket. What is it? And I go, I don't know. He's a pretty good artist, this guy. His name is Scott. And he draws this thing for me. And I don't know what the fuck that is. And then he comes to school one day and he's all depressed. This is like 1978. And I go, what's wrong with you? He goes, I found out what that thing was that my father had. I go, what is it? He goes, it's called the anal slip and slide. It's like something about the size of, like a battery with a long handle on it. And it's like, man, these are things that you don't.
I keep on hearing the commercial, the theme song for that. Slip, slip and slide, slip and slide. Remember that commercial? He's singing that when he's doing it. Maybe that's a good show. That's a good show to do, right? Instead of you follow the money. Follow the Republican.
Yeah, because it's just a matter of time. It is just a matter of time.
Butters did it on South Park. Followed both his parents. Followed mom to the meat market where she's picking up men. Followed dad to the porno theater where he was picking up men. It's a wonderful country.
It's a pastime. Like Major League Baseball, Nate, your Major League Baseball, according to the San Diego Tribune, while the San Diego Gay Men's Chorus was about to sing the Star-Spangled Banner before the Padres matchup against the Los Angeles Dodgers at Petco Park on Saturday, the Padres played a recording of a woman instead of the chorus over the loudspeakers. As if that wasn't humiliating enough, fans lambasted the chorus with homophobic slurs. The team's apology wasn't sufficient to alleviate concerns over sabotage, and according to the Huffington Post, the choir is now calling on the San Diego City's Attorney's Office and the San Diego Human Relations Commission to investigate the incident. What PR moves do you make, Major League Baseball, to not only make amends, but to ensure this kind of knuckle-dragging drama isn't repeated in other cities?
I say you book the chorus on a tour of every stadium in baseball and ram it down their throats. I mean, like
ram it down.
Exactly. YMCA, baby.
Judas Priest, baby.
Yeah. I mean, this incident was particularly loathsome. I mean, I was flabbergasted when I heard about this.
We watch it's pretty sad too, because like they're just like the music is playing, and to watch people try to have a dignified front in wake of like just it's just such a cheap blow, it's just not funny, and they're there like having to endure this shit, and like, okay, we're professionals, we're just gonna.
Yeah, but you know what? This is if people finally on Knuckle Up this week finally got a taste of why I hate Anthony Kiedis so much. And it's I'm not a long story. I'm not going to repeat the story here. But the second where you try to turn the power off, as far as I'm concerned, as a performer, you have given me license to flip the fuck out. I'm not saying tear up the turf and rip out the bases, but I'm saying, you know what? I'm standing here until that shit stops and I can finish the song that I was engaged to finish. And I don't give a shit about your game. I don't care about these 40,000 people. I don't care at the eyes of the world. I'm finishing. You're not stopping me. And you call the cops, maybe you got to drag me out of here, but I'm not. But yeah, Nate's completely 100% right. You gotta and I'm not buying this mealy mouth. And keep in mind, it was no accident that it was in San Diego, So, you shuffle along to Buffalo, man. You make this thing right now, but I love that you did some jiu-jitsu here, some Alexi jiu-jitsu, because of course you cleverly introduced Huffington Post into the discussion, which I actually, the editor-in-chief of Huffington Post, I sent her a LinkedIn friend request because she thought she was being jaunty, and she puts up on Twitter a picture. Notice anything about this picture from one of their staff meetings? And people look and they go, yeah, there are no Negroes on your staff. Yeah. She meant like, oh, look, we have a staff full of women. We don't have any men here. Ha, ha, ha. Turns out you have a staff full of white women, one Asian woman, one Latino woman probably, but absolutely, positively. And people are outraged. I'm not outraged because, of course, we know there are no black journalists in America, so it was easy. But, we can't expect them to do the impossible. I find a black journalist anywhere, because I personally don't know any black journalists myself.
Who's heard of that?
I don't know any black journalists who have won MMA Journalist of the Year for sure.
What?
So yeah, they got to make amends and do it fast. It was fucking stupid and lame.
I'm outraged there were no men on the board. What the hell is that?
Yeah, that people got on them for many. They brought her over from Facebook, and it's like, if you knew what kind of money they gave her to go from Facebook to Huffington Post as a journalist, you would run into the street, stab your eyes out, and run in front of a truck. So I'm not feeling sorry at all.
Did she put together that banging Facebook Trends program that's been getting so much quality press?
No, I don't think she did.
Speaking of quality press, it brings us to our teachable moment. Eugene, you're Kanye West. Being an eclectic, off-the-chain rapper sold records, but it's hurting your attempts to garner support for independent fashion financing. You begged Mark Zuckerberg for Facebook money on Twitter, turned your Ellen opportunity into a WTF moment, and lamented that Payless isn't biting. What PR moves can you make to convince fashion to take you more seriously than you take yourself?
Man, you're killing me. You're absolutely killing me. The same guy who asked me to ask Nate about Waco says about Drake that he will never go away. We will see that asshole jumping bandwagons for decades. I actually don't think so.
Do that little dance he does.
But I think Kanye, man, he's another one who just won't go away. He's not. If you think he's gonna go away, he will never go away. He will never go away quietly. And this, you know what you do? People make fun of P. Diddy. Look, I was editor-in-chief of a men's fashion magazine for several years in Los Angeles, right? So it's tied into the fashion industry in a fairly big way. You don't know this, maybe, if you're not paying attention, but P. Diddy's line, his fucking, that was
John.
It was a serious line. He brought in top people and he won a bunch of fashion designer awards for it because he did it the way any other smart CEO does. I'm gonna go out, I'm gonna get the best people, I'm gonna pay them top dollar, go out and do some shit, and then he comes in, once every couple of months. He goes, nice shirts, put them out. That was a legitimate, understood, fashion-wide, legitimate. I don't know what it's because P. Diddy had a good eye or hired good people, but it was legitimate. He never had a single need to go on Ellen and play the fucking fool. And believe me, if there's anybody else, I mean, he's not one of those guys who's going away quietly either, but he's capable of being quiet. And that's all. I don't need you to go. I understand that's your job. I got it. That's your job. But I just need you to be quiet for a fucking little bit. 5 minutes, please, And I know there are people saying that, Eugene, you could follow your own advice. Yeah, but, this show ends and I stand up from this table, I'm still broke as a joke, So, so I'm nothing. I'm not infesting your life like this guy is infesting your life. So what he needs to do, you think Mark Zuckerberg had a laugh at that. This was not what serious people do. You don't ask for private equity funding on Ellen. You make a call. You get, look, I'm going to be in California. When you're rich and famous like that, you get meetings with whoever the hell you want. I've seen it happen. You just call them.
I'd like to make a call that we make Eugene Kanye and Madonna-esque. Get him to the point in which you can't escape that guy.
No. What I want to do, I'd like to actually
That'd be great.
No, I want to do what I used to do at other point in my life. I want to be the club bouncer. I want to be the guy that you call to, I was at some orgy once, and they're like, look, these guys are going to come by, and we don't want them to stay a long time. I go, I got it. I'll be the orgy bouncer. Because they came by to deliver some stuff, So they came by to deliver some stuff, and they were like, oh, man, I'm in the middle of an orgy because everybody's laying around naked, so naturally these guys are going to try to stay. And at one point, the hostess, she looks at me, and she's like, gives me the look, and I was like, all right, you guys, shake it on out of here.
Did you put a towel on first, or did you?
No, I didn't need a towel, I was like, shake it on out of here. And those guys, to their credit, they're like, cool, bro, and they just left. They were just like, we're not gonna, naked Negro. We're not gonna.
Don't make me use this.
Exactly, we're done.
Don't make.
I'll see you later. So I'd like to be like entertainment bouncer, where you just give me a call, and I show up at Madonna's house, and I go, you're out. What do you mean I'm out? Nah, you know what? Rollins once told me, he was like telling me when he got the call from his business manager about the music thing. The guy called, and I don't know whether I conflated this story or confused it, but I envisioned his manager and agent sitting at the poolside with the accounts payable, which is that green and white sheets that fold out, looking at the spreadsheet, and essentially the guy said, it's over. Because remember, for a time, Rollins was on like Imago, which was, I think, DreamWorks imprint or something, and he's like, what do you mean it's over? He's like, it's over. That's it. If you want to independently produce music, but it's over. And that was it. That was like Eugene, the entertainment bouncer, comes to your house, except in this case, the business manager had a pool, and he's like, time for you to go.
Dude, that's a perfect GoFundMe. I will go to the house. Yeah. You have the different rates set up.
Yep.
At the, maybe the 50 grand level, some low level, like.
I think you need a Navy SEAL squadron to shut down Madonna. She's got her own bodyguards, her own money. Like, it's going to take a firefight to get Madonna off TV.
But I think what happened is you're going to get names on that list that you don't want to do. You're like, not this. Come on, man.
Yeah, eventually it'll be somebody that you really like, right? Like if Prince was still alive, there's probably somebody who would have said, hey, man, he's talking about the Jehovah's Witness thing again. We're done. Could you? And, man, it would have been with a heavy heart that I went out to Paisley Park and was like,
see, Prince was talented enough, and what he was doing was entertaining enough. Like, he can talk about Jehovah's Witness all he wants as long as he's still doing Gershwin piano solos or whatever. He was showing up, doing creative stuff, surprising people, doing small venue shows. He wasn't trying to force it in the stadiums. Yep, now, Paul McCartney, I think, needs an intervention. I think it's time. Like, Paul McCartney can't sing anymore. He's
you know what? Paul McCartney, it's understandable, right? Because how old is Paul McCartney?
72.
72-year-old. How old is Paul McCartney's wife?
Is he married again?
Yeah, I thought he got married again.
I don't know. I hadn't checked in on the missus.
He's got a limited number of options. He's either got to stay at home and screw, or he's got to get out of the house. And believe me, if he's 72, unless he's kept in shape and taking a look at his face, I'm not saying dude's in shape. He's got to get out of the house. He's good for one a day, and that's aggressive for a guy who's 72. So
well, maybe it wipes him out. You don't want to go anywhere after. Like,
yeah. No, man. If he's trying to go to Grammy parties and getting denied because of Tyga or whoever, that some half-ass hip-hop stuff who I don't even music, then he needs an intervention. You're right.
Rack City, baby. What about you?
Wife's 56. 56.
Yeah, so he might be. If she's 56, she's just having sex with a pool boy.
Yeah, I mean, there's no need for
Kanye. What would you add for Kanye?
Kanye's brand, ever since his first hit single, the one about the jaw being wired shut, his whole brand has been about revealing these sort of embarrassing and humiliating, very human things. He rode through his mom dying during liposurgery. He's been part of the Kardashian circus. I mean, there's no shame. You're not going to reach a level at which Kanye's ashamed of himself. I mean, South Park, I thought, nailed him pretty well with the joke that he didn't get. I mean, The guy's got no sense of humor about himself. He's got no embarrassment, no shame level. I think Kanye's going to be out there. It's going to go from Ellen to a third-tier show. You know, it's the quality.
He's like Colonel Kurtz. He's operating out there beyond any reasonable control. Somebody has to stop him.
Yeah,
Somebody.
I mean, we booked him on this show, so you know he's got a long way to fall before he's done.
Well, you would not only book him on the show, you would have him take my place.
I'd have him physically attempt to take your place. How about that?
That would be great. That would be great.
I'm gonna let you finish, but it's time for Eugene's Lost Battalion.
Oh, fucking A. Oh, man.
Kanye.
No, the thing is, you can fool some of the people all the time. Kanye puts out a record. You know how many copies he sold of this record, even though you could steal it? Way more than I've ever sold in my entire career. So, yeah, I'm not hating on him because America's got crappy taste. I don't know. But anyway, Lost Battalion, man, we've got. I don't want to keep talking about guys who are already Lost Battalionized, who will not hear you are Lost Battalionized, but then you got guys who are there who are deeper in the mist and whose confusion is compounded. I mean, Johnny Hendrix, we all know he is in the mist, right? But he is not aggressively in the mist as Chris Weidman. This Chris Weidman is stunningly mystified, misted. He is. I don't think I've seen it. Junior Dos Santos at his most confused height was, I thought, deeper in the battalion, which means, leading the battalion. But he, the whole tectonic shift in the heavyweight division has changed things for him. In a rare, Providence has smiled on him in a rare case, but this Weidman thing is stunning, man. With Maddie Sarah going like, hey, bud, I'm gonna be over here, doing the show with the ball one. I tell you, I'll be back. I'll be back in about 5 minutes. You just hang out here by the wood pile. I promise you. I'll be back. And the list is really big. And at this point now, we're gonna have Smurf kind of tote it because Anderson Silva's there. BJ Penn is there. And then I heard a name I hadn't heard in the wild the other day, and I'm like, man, is that guy's been dark starred? It was Bonner. Is he retired?
Oh wow!
There you go. You see, this is the name. He's like,
that's a true test of that's a true test. You say the name, and someone's like, oh, as opposed to like, no, he's fighting next week, man.
Is he retired? Is he where is that guy? Who's just floating around, So increasingly, what we're seeing, if you're asking about high-profile entries, I'm going to have to say no. But in terms of, I'm nervous. Like I said on Knuckle Up, I'm nervous about Chris Weidman. Nervous. I have the Spilkus and the Gonectazoid. I am nervous. I have agita. I mean, because it's like, Diana Ross said it best. Where does the road turn for this guy? I don't know, man. And he's got now nobody. Where's Ray Longo? Don't know. He's just bumping along he goes, well, at least I got my family behind me. I don't see his family by the woodpile. Not even his family. What's going to happen?
Dad?
Yeah, and strangely enough, you know what? Give me a couple of months, and I'm going to ask him, why is RDA next to him? What's the RDA doing there?
You didn't like his Bob Dylan, promo where he's like, I don't talk for a living. I fight for a living.
Yeah,
I'm going to have a conversation.
Yeah. You know what these guys are starting.
You threw it down angry.
What these guys are seeing increasingly is that Providence comes and knocks one time. One time. Yeah. Can we talk about Cain Velasquez? Providence not. I mean, you can push it a little bit. But after a certain point, you become yesterday's news. Shane Carwin had this kind of blip where his head raised above the mist for a second, even though he's retired, and goes, oh, I'll save that fight. I'll fight him. And people are like, hey, Shane Carwin. And then they're back to it.
Roy Nelson's talking about a title shot. I think there's hope.
They owe him. That's what he says.
And then Will Brooks gets cut from the floor. where you know, hey, you know, you one of the most even-tempered guys I've met in MMA, Scott Coker. If Scott Coker's pulling the trigger on you, where do you go from there? You know,
ONE FC maybe you can have the super fight with Ben Askren.
Maybe. I mean, so we need to keep. I'm going to actually start to keep a tote sheet to figure out who's doing what and where and why they're there. But you know, it is this last week has been stunning in its magnitude because of the whole. Did you actually read word for word what Weidman said about his neck?
Tell us.
No, read it.
No, I started to read it. Just
exactly.
You read it, and then it's like you say, oh, it's like TLDR. You know, it's in that territory of just going. Oh, I've always had a problem with my neck, but I've always had this, and this is how things have happened with this, and blah, 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 blah. That's why I think on Knuckle Up you summed it perfectly. You know, it's just one of these things where it's just like it's too long. Explanation. And what I think fascinating too about him is the fact that when he like a psych major or something, and like in the past he's like, I use my degree for a positive way and being able to manipulate people. Like he was on that Rashad Evans kind of stuff of now and then he would say things like, oh, he's trying to use his degree, you know, to his advantage, getting ahead of people. And then you're like, wow, there's just too much.
But you know what we would say when we were in college? We say, you know, be wary of psych majors because they're taking psych classes to help themselves with their own problems. You know? So watch out. I mean, it is actually at this point now. I can't take my eyes off it. I can't think because if you think any of this is contributing toward him getting closer to beating Luke Rockhold, you are absolutely positively wrong. This is not going to help you beat Luke Rockhold. You know, Jacare might help you beat Luke Rockhold, but you know. This is not helpful.
Well, it's weird too because I think what I think is fascinating about him, like two quick things, is one, he had the ball. He had the ball. He had a moment. He had that. I mean, to me, you could tell it was over when he was like was there some game on Fox and he was sitting right next to Kevin James, and the camera was like right on Kevin James and him. And I was like, oh, Kevin James is here. They told no acknowledgement whatsoever about who this dude is. Like, man, all right, so you have that. And then number two, you need him. I think he was being utilized as a means to get MMA legalized in New York. It's now legal. What's the point?
Well, also, I mean, the thing is, too, you know, people, you don't like that great thing. Did you see these two guys, the Fusco show where they had DC on? And they said, wait a minute. You didn't actually beat the champion, and then it starts flashing below him, picture fake champion. It was it made me really homesick, actually. But I mean, I think the reality of it is you're not figuring out who's a champion based on who's beaten who. Realistically speaking, I've said it before, and I'll say it again. You're figuring out who the champions are completely on the basis of how people handle loss. That's it.
Man. On that positive, upbeat note, thank you for joining us. Follow us on Twitter at Eugene S. Robinson, at Kid Nate, at Alexi Old. Please give us a thumbs up, Eugene.
Ta-da! Yes. There's a thumbs.
So after crushing your dream, oh, man. See, I was going to say, after crushing your dream, he gives you the finger. Then he shows you a thumb just to make it even more sad. I was like, damn.
Well, if I was going to do Sorrel style, the thumb I'd be like this. Encouraging, building confidence. Oh, he's saying it's a lie. Yeah, okay. Many a time at the Worlds, I looked up and look in the stands and see him like this. It's a lie. And then I go like this, like, what? and then he goes like this, you know. And I'm still rocking his shirt. It's pathetic.
Leave comments on YouTube. Subscribe MMANation.com on YouTube, MMA Nation on iTunes. Visit Bloody Elbow. Read Eugene at Azzy.com. Check out all three of us at Amazon.com, including getting the source of inspiration.
Sexy.
We'll be back next week with another
inspiration.
Yes, sexy. Yeah, coloring book is coming soon. We'll be back next week with another installment. If I Did It, and we don't know, we'll be talking about yet for Eugene's mental health. Hopefully not Madonna.
Well, we got to push it back because remember I get back from Poland on Tuesday.
So it'll be on Wednesday or Thursday.
Yeah. Cool.
Right. But the PR mistakes have yet to be made.